The countdown to the North Carolina primary continues. We're less than a month away from Election Day in our state. Joining us on 2 Wants to Know, we have Charlie Collicutt, the director of the Guilford County Board of Elections. He is answering all your elections-related questions, and you can text those questions to us at 336-379-5775. These are the type of questions where you can ask it anonymously, and you can get your answer to the question right on the spot. All right, for those who are like, I kind of heard that there was an election, I don't know what the dates are, let's go over when the early voting begins, ends, and Election Day.
Okay. Early voting, it's coming up. It's going to start on April 28th. That's a Thursday, 8 a.m. at 8 different locations. It's going to go on for throughout the next 17 days, and it's going to end on May 14th. And then we're going to have Election Day on May 17th at your polling places, where we have 165 open throughout the entire county.
All right, and this is one of those things where primaries may be a little bit different than general election, where some polling places may be condensed, so everybody really does need to take a look at where they're going to be voting?
Yeah, we won't use as many early voting sites as what we normally use. For example, back in the 2020 presidential, we used 25 places. This time we're only using 8 early voting sites. So you do need to check and look at the schedule and look at our maps to see what's open. On Election Day, though, we're going to open up all of them for this May 17th. So where you normally go is going to be the place. We've had some changes, so it's still important to look at, check online and check your registration or call us and ask, but we will be opening up all 165 places on May 17th.
And of course, while Charlie is talking from the Guilford County point of view, he's talking about as well, he can talk about the big picture as well. You do need to, no matter where you are, go on to your Board of Elections to find out and make sure where your early voting sites are and to check that your voting site is the same. All right, let's talk about what people will be voting on, because someone was like, oh, I don't think there's an election in my county. And I'm like, oh, but there is.
Yeah, there's a lot to vote on this year. But again, this is a primary, so not every contest that you'll end up seeing in the November general will be on the ballot. Depending on how many people from each party decided to run has a big impact on what appears on the ballot. And obviously where you live can have a big impact of what's on the ballot. You may vote on some slate of candidates and somebody on another part of town may have something different. But everybody, Democrats, Republicans, they've all got this big Senate race. And then as you go down the ballot, it varies by party, but we've got United States House of Representatives, we've got some state House rep, a lot of judicial races, clerk of court, DA, and then a lot of our local races, county commissioner, school board. And then, of course, here in Greensboro, this is different depending on where you live, but here in Greensboro, there's going to be their city council primary. And then following up that with in Guilford County, we've got a bond and then a quarter-cent sales tax issue.
Okay, and we've got a graphic for that too. We don't want folks to miss that. In case you haven't heard, there is a Guilford County Schools bond. It is a $1.7 billion bond. And then along with that is also a fraction of a penny sales tax. Now, these are 2 different things to vote on.
Right. The bond, the $1.7 billion bond is one totally separate issue from this quarter of a cent sales tax. So you can vote independently or not at all on either of those items.
Okay. All right. And then there's been a lot of back and forth about whether you have to take your ID to go and vote. So what is the rule for this election?
All right, for this election that we know of, we're not going to be asking for ID at the polls to vote on Election Day. Now, we're not doing that because of some things that are going on in the courts. So could that change at some point? Yes, but as of now, we are not doing that ID just to vote on Election Day.
All right, and so this is a primary, so folks sometimes get kind of confused. When they go up to get their ballot, Republicans, you're going to get a ballot that has your Republican candidates. Democrats, you're going to get a ballot with all of your Democratic candidates. You're not going to see all the candidates because it is a primary, and so you get either one or the other. What happens if someone is an unaffiliated voter?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like you said, Democrats vote on the Democratic slate, Republicans on the Republican slate. But an unaffiliated voter is different. They can go in and they'll be asked if they want to participate in one party or the other. So the unaffiliated comes in, they get that choice, and they can pick only the Democrats or only the Republicans, not a mix of the two. but still they do get that choice.
Okay, gotcha. And so we already have a question about, will there be sample ballots? Today I found one, but on the North Carolina State Board of Elections when I looked up my voter search, but I don't know that, is it on every single website for each county?
Yeah, so we're working on getting a big composite sample ballot together that will be every contest for any generic voter that would walk in. But also there is this voter search. You can link to it on our webpage. You can find it on the State Board of Elections webpage, and you can go and find your very specific sample ballot based on your specific address. So we can take the guesswork for you out of, what district do I live in? Is there a primary for that? So find that link on our website for the voter search, and you can get your sample ballot directly there.
Yeah, and really your voter search is putting in your name, right?
Right.
It can be your year of birth or not, and then your county. And then it's going to give you all of your voter information. And then when you scroll down, you'll see the primary, and you can just click on that.